everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thanks for joining me. Well, it's Sunday, so you guys know what that means. It is the weekly astro weather, and this is going to be the astro weather for July 17th through the 24th. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're enjoying this very magical, watery, cosmic water trine weekend. The moon is in Pisces. It's conjunct Neptune. It's trine the sun and Mercury in Cancer. We're in our feelings. Guys, you're probably noticing that the full moon is just, it's still going, right? It's just gonna keep on keeping on. In many ways, this whole week is probably still gonna be things that are shaking out as a result of that full moon that we had in Capricorn on the 13th. Maybe you've seen other videos that I've put out about the Sun, Mercury, Cazimi in Cancer and the Sun coming into opposition with Pluto. We're gonna touch on that a little bit more today. If you're new to my channel, do me a favor, hit the subscription button, give me a thumbs up, and leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to hear from you. We have seen so much engagement with the channel, and the channel is continuing to grow. Just a big thank you to everybody who is a member or a subscriber. I really appreciate you. Well, themes this week are going to be moving past emotional blockages. That is the name of the game all week long with aspects to Pluto. We got a ton of planets in Cancer, and Venus will be joining the party as she moves into the cardinal water sign this week as well. So definitely going to help kind of soften the blow of some of the intense things that have been going on. It's very important that we're paying attention to Venus because she is the ruler of the North Node in Taurus. So all week long, we are reflecting and we are asking ourselves, what are we willing to let go of? What are we willing to release? What's toxic, what's not serving us, and what is really keeping us from being able to move forward. Like I said, post full moon fallout, with aspects to Pluto, we're really focusing on breaking the trauma drama cycle. Easier said than done, but whatever's been playing out for you this week, that is to show you where you're no longer falling victim to fear and learning how to be an actor and not a reactor. When we have aspects to Pluto, usually there is a breakdown before a breakthrough. He is kind of like this cosmic pressure cooker, and you have to be careful with Pluto aspects because oftentimes Pluto will say, "What are you afraid of?" And he'll go, "There you go." So we'll see that kind of happening intermittently throughout the week. The most important thing is that we're seeking to move past limitations, working together collectively to build the life that we all know that we deserve. But in order to do that physically, we have to be there emotionally. I'm going to read to you guys a little bit today from the Archetypal universe. If you guys are wondering what I'm reading, what I'm recommending, you can check out my Amazon link below. I'm always adding decks and various books to it that I use in some of my videos, but I want to see what Renn Butler has to say about some of these Sun, Mercury, Pluto aspects. Now, also this week, Venus will be moving into Cancer, so that's going to be lovely. Cancer is associated with the moon. It's connected to emotion, family, lots of waterworks, lots of tears, lots of emotions. Remember that Cancer teaches us that it is important to do the emotional labor, right? It's connection to homeland, security, mothers, motherhood, nurturing. And it can have us very much in our feels, and it's very soft and kind of cuddly and sentimental. Now, the North Node is ruled by Taurus, so it's important that we're always paying attention to where Venus is going. So when she changes signs or she makes aspects, that needs to be noted. And while Venus is moving through the sign of Cancer, she is very much associated with the moon. So lunar transits this month are going to be a little bit more prominent. And if you are somebody who is ruled by Taurus, Libra, or Cancer, you're probably going to be feeling this ingress a little bit more. If you stay tuned to the end, I'm going to be talking about where Venus is going to be moving through which house for each and every one of the 12 signs, and I'll be giving you guys some tarot insight as well. So let's talk a little bit about this Venus transit first. So Venus will be moving through the sign of Cancer from July 17th through August 11th. Now, when Venus moves into this part of the skies for the very first couple of days, she will also be joining the Sun and Mercury in Cancer. Cancer deals with emotions. So when we take Mercury, the messenger, we are relaying our emotions, sometimes reflecting on the past and being like a little sentimental. There can be a sense to turn to the past or be turning to things that are more nurturing or kind of just more homey in general. So having Venus, Mercury, the Sun, there is just an emphasis on how we're feeling and how we're expressing our emotions. Now, in the midst of her transit, she is going to make several aspects. So I'm going to take you through these aspects right now. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about the week ahead. But on the 17th, she will be moving into the sign of Cancer, right here at the southern part of my chart. In the PM hours here on the West Coast, she will enter into 0 degrees. Now, the first major aspect she is going to be making will actually be on the 24th, when she comes into a square with Jupiter in Aries. So Jupiter amplifies. Jupiter in Aries is very quick moving. It's very active. These are what we call cardinal squares. So as Venus forms an opening square to Jupiter, Venus is challenging Jupiter. This is going to bring up big feelings, acting on our beliefs, sharing love and our personal beliefs with other people, and perhaps being a little bit more impulsive when it comes to money, relationships, and resources. Now, this is happening at an 8, so there's something changing and transforming about these topics in our lives. If you have any cardinal placements from 6 to 10 degrees of all of the cardinal signs, so that would be Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, pay attention. You're going to feel this square. It's going to be amplified probably for about a 48-hour period, as somewhere around the 25th going into the 26th, the moon moves into the sign of Cancer. Then we are going to see on August 1st, right here, Venus in Cancer will sextile the North Node and Mars and Uranus. Okay, so this is going to be felt very strongly August 1st and August 2nd. Now, you've seen me talk in previous videos about this big bang of a transit that's going to be happening at the end of July going into early August as Mars, Uranus, and the North Node all align, which is going to create dramatic upheavals, shakeups, unexpected things, explosions in our lives, literally or figuratively. Now, it's interesting because Mars, which is a masculine sign that we usually like to see in the sign of like Aries or maybe Capricorn, is moving through a debilitated placement in Taurus. So it's a little sluggish, it's a little uncomfortable. But still, it's a Venus-related sign. So we have to be looking at what's going on with Venus. What's interesting to me is just how these sequence of transits are taking place. We've got Mars, ruler of the South Node, conjunct the North Node, so something about the past is funneling into the future. And we have what we would call almost like a bit of a sextile. So Venus is sextiling, forming that nice 60-degree angle to Mars. They're working together. So likely whatever this conjunction, wherever Taurus is in your chart, whatever that explosion is, it's actually being supported by Venus. Venus is saying, hey, I've got you. We're going to take care of this. I'm going to nurture this. I'm going to ensure that you have safety and security. So it's nice to see, even in the midst of a rather challenging transit, that there's going to be a sextile between the two and that it is supported. If you want to see more on the North Node Uranus conjunction, check out my previous videos. I also have a webinar that is on my website where I go in depth and talk about how it's going to affect all the 12 signs and us globally. Now, on this same day, Venus is also going to be forming a trine to the South Node. So this is what I love about astrology. It's a lot of past and future meeting in the present, right? Seeing Venus, which rules relationships, it rules feeling happy and committed and safe and secure and really working with values. It's forming that trine to the South Node. So it's releasing and it's letting go of karma, while at the same time it's supporting whatever kind of chaotic things are happening, moving and making changes for our future. So watch for that to be happening on August 1st and August 2nd, both a sextile between Mars, Venus, and Uranus, as well as Venus in a trine to the South Node. Very healing time, even though it's a little unsettling. Then we're going to see Venus begin to move ahead in Cancer, come to about 24, 25 degrees, where Venus will be forming a trine with Neptune in Pisces. I'm loving it. You're going to feel it like the 6th, 7th, 8th of August. This will be very magical, very mystical, lots of room for inspiration, arts, music, and tapping into our dreams or our psychic abilities. Now, we've seen this a little bit this weekend, actually. You're seeing it all day today. We have the moon and Neptune forming trines and making aspects to the sun and Mercury in Cancer. Similar energy, right? We're going to see lots of similar energy. Great day to be meditating, reflecting, doing any of your mystical, magical arts, writing music, poetry, being by the water, being by the beach, anything in relation to cleansing and purification. And then last but not least, the very next day, Venus moves to make an opposition with Pluto in Capricorn. So as this happens, we are going to be seeing the challenge between Pluto or Hades and Venus, which is all about love and relationships. As these two stand apart from each other, we're going to be having to face an intense transformation of home, relationships, our role out in the world. Make or break themes may come about with Venus in opposition to Pluto, and it's likely that we're going to see some kind of conflict or tension. Now, keep in mind that this is a short-term transit. It'll move very quickly. This is going to be happening at 26 degrees, so I'm anticipating it's going to be about food, resources, and what's going on with our global markets. Nevertheless, if you are a Venus or a Pluto-based chart, so if you are a Taurus or Libra rising or a Scorpio rising, this is going to be the most intense for you. Pay attention. And then within about a day or two, we're going to see, well, you know what? I think we're going to feel this quite a bit here too, because the moon will come into conjunction with Pluto and it will oppose Venus. So yeah, pay attention on the 10th as well. Still that hot zone. I remember saying it'll be like the 31st of July all the way through about August 10th, just with the North Node Uranus stuff that's going on, that we're gonna feel it, but this even more so. And it's gonna begin to taper off a little bit after August the 10th. So that's kind of like the quick wrap up. We may touch on this as the weeks go ahead and really look deeper at some of these oppositions and trines and other things. But just know that as we get to the later part of July, things are just gonna get more and more intense, all right? So let's go ahead and roll this back. I wanna bring it back to today, the 17th of July. And today we have the Sun, Mercury, Cazimi in Cancer. It's still hanging out, guys. We are seeing Mercury and the Sun in Cancer move very closely towards one another. When the Sun is conjunct Mercury, when it's in this position within about a degree, we call this a Cazimi. Look for insightful information. Likely it's very intuitive. Tonight is the night to be meditating, right? Working with your tarot cards, working with your crystals, doing your dream interpretation, your past life regression, all of that stuff, because the moon and Neptune are aligning, forming trines with Sun and Mercury. Very psychic day on tap. The challenge, though, is that we are going to see the Sun and Mercury coming into an opposition with Pluto, and that is going to bring some really intense kind of mental situations, some intense conversations. Likely it can be very provoking. It can be bringing up some feelings in us where we're feeling threatened or challenged. Remember, Cancer is the crab, so it likes to know that it's safe in its shell, and if it's being bothered or kind of taunted by anything, it gets a little snappy. But because that Cazimi is still hanging around, I would say look for the cosmic sprinkles that are coming up in your life and where you're getting intuitive insight that might help give you some more information about how that conjunction is going to unfold. Now, technically, Mercury is still invisible. So until we get Mercury out of the sign of Cancer within about 10 degrees of the Sun, towards the end of the month, we're going to start to kind of see like what those intuitive hits that were coming up for us really meant and what Mercury's message really was trying to tell us and how it's going to unfold. So there's still some like subconscious connections and conversations that we're having. Like I said, it's likely to play out in an intuitive hit, a gut feeling, or a really prominent dream. Now then on the 18th, we are going to be seeing that Mercury forms the opposition to Pluto in Capricorn. So this is a day where there can be lots of slick tongues, there can be lots of verbal barbs that are being thrown, there can be challenges and conflicts in terms of relating to other people. Remember, Mercury in Cancer is about emotions, so it's how we're responding to things emotionally, and we can get a little snappy, right? Oppositions do present opportunities, and I find it kind of not unusual because the Sun and Mercury move together pretty quickly, but it's really interesting that both the Sun, Mercury, and Venus are all going to form this opposition to Pluto for the very final time before Pluto moves into Aquarius next spring. So it's wrapping up a reflection of everything we've been dealing with since Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. So you might be reflecting back on the Capricorn area of your life, what's been changing and transforming, where there's been too much pressure, too much control, or almost just too much work, right? So we've been feeling overworked in this area of our life. On the 18th also, like I said, this is when Venus is going to be moving into the sign of Cancer. So it's adding to kind of the emotions, like the angry crying and all of that stuff that can be coming from this particular transit. Now on the 19th, we're going to be seeing the Sun then moves to oppose Pluto in Capricorn as well. So first it was Mercury, so it's the mind, intense exchanges, obsessive fixations, people who are feeling like they don't have privacy, people are prying. Then it becomes the Sun, and that's a battle of the wills, battle of the ego. Sun opposed Pluto feels like it's you against the world, or there's forces that are oppressing you or keeping you or holding you back. You may feel that this is a day that your security is being threatened. You may feel that your will is being kind of thwarted and you're not able to move forward and do some of the things that you want to do. It can bring lots of tension though, because this same day we've got the moon that's hanging out in the sign of Aries. Now from the 19th into the 20th, we will then see the Sun and the moon come into a square with Pluto, and it will create a cardinal T-square. But just know that on the 19th, this is when things start to build. When we see this Sun-Pluto opposition and we're feeling kind of like threatened in some capacity. It's really important not to let fear run the show. Like I said, whenever we're dealing with Pluto, it's like, oh my God, what if this happens? And likely sometimes what we're afraid of happening is possible, but only if we give power to it. So that's what I always tell my clients when they're going through a Sun-Pluto opposition, is that be mindful of what you give power to and what you're allowing to kind of dominate your headspace or your day-to-day life with the Sun-Mercury conjunction that's going on. Now on the 20th, as the moon moves into the later degrees of Aries, it will form a square to Pluto, so it's going to be emotional tensions. It's then going to form a square to the Sun, and like I said, we call this a cardinal T-square. The moon is the trigger. So the moon is going to be talking about the collective. It's going to be talking about how people respond. And when the moon is in Aries, we're fierce, right? We're courageous. We can sometimes be willing to step up to the plate and have a little bit of conflict. We need the ability to roam around and also kind of be free. So just a warning to those of you guys in the late degrees of the cardinal signs, anywhere from like, let's say 26 to 28, maybe even 29 degrees, the third decan specifically, you guys are going to be feeling this crunch big time. This is going to be action-packed, and it's bringing up themes of needing to break out of something or kind of go our own way and challenge the authorities at bay. All right, so then we move to the 21st. And on the 21st, we see the moon move into Taurus. It's happy there usually, right? It's the moon's exaltation in the sign of Taurus. However, the moon's going to come into conjunction with Mars, so we're feeling a little feisty. We're feeling the need to emotionally move things around and shift things. The good thing I think about this is that whatever is transpiring for you on the 21st, it's showing you likely within about 10 days to 2 weeks time what needs to change in your life. Remember, as Mars gets closer in the sign of Taurus to Uranus, it's going to be like blowing something up and helping us remove roadblocks so we can go deeper into the future. But this is the day where you're going to start to get insight as to what big kaboom might be taking place in your life. Now, this is all about breaking out of our comfort zone, because Taurus is about comfort, security, stability. The moon and Mars together is saying we need to get this going. We need to get this going now. Likely there's going to be lots of action around the topics of currency, exchange, money, resources, and banking. This is something that I want you guys to pay attention to food as well, and other resources. But whatever's taking place on this day, like not the best day to be trying to have a meeting, not the best day to be, you know, taking your time doing something. Like the tempo is going to be picking up quite quickly. And when we see Moon Mars contacts, people are more aggressive. There's more accidents. There's more cuts. It's more kind of getting like banged up because it's Mars. So this isn't your typical Moon through Taurus transit. So focus on breaking out of your comfort zone. Realize that on the 21st, it's like go time and you're getting ready to make a significant shift. Then on the 22nd of the month, we're going to see the moon move into conjunction with the North Node in Taurus. So things calm down a little bit. We're like, okay, so that happened. Granted, we're still going to see a square to Saturn, so it's an adjustment period, and it's how we're adjusting and physically settling into some kind of change that we made. Now, the moon will form a trine to Pluto in Capricorn, so we're powering up. That's the good news. It's a big time power up period. We're realizing that in order to feel more safe and secure, we need to change and transform something about the power in our life. So you want to be looking at Capricorn in your chart. The sun is moving to 29 degrees of Cancer. It is the excess degree of Cancer, so it might feel like an emotional crisis, a turning point, things of that nature. Then on the 23rd, the sun moves into Leo. Happy birthday to my July Leos. I hope it's a good one for you. The moon moves into Gemini, so we've got a sextile there, so things calm down just a little bit. And we see Mercury in Leo form a trine to Jupiter in Aries. Good news is what I'm looking for. I'm anticipating good news, good travel news. People are more positive and optimistic about the change that happened. It can be a day where we're just feeling a little bit more excited and wanting to share something with other people, especially in relation to our own personal talents, our creative projects, our children, our love life, things like that. Really happy to see Mercury move into Leo and form that trine. And then on the 24th, we're going to see Venus in Cancer form a square to Jupiter in Aries. And this is that big emotions, big feeling that I was talking to you guys about. Jupiter in Aries wants us to focus on taking action in our beliefs and our philosophy. And when we see Venus in Cancer, she wants to stay home and bake cookies and wants to improve the house and decorate and be with family. And Jupiter's like, I need to get on a plane and go somewhere. So there can be frictions revolving around our domestic needs for security versus our personal goals, and those kind of being in disharmony a little bit. Very quickly, before we move on to Venus in all of the signs, I just want to read you a little bit of what Renn Butler had to say. I'm going to talk a little bit about Sun-Pluto aspects, and this can be looked at from oppositions, squares, conjunctions. It's just when you're blending the energy of Pluto and the Sun, what you might get. And then I want to talk to you about what happens when we add Mercury into the mix, because we'll see the Sun make an opposition to Pluto, and then we'll see Mercury make an opposition to Pluto. So a couple themes in regards to Sun-Pluto would be intense enthusiasm and drive, a connection with primal natural energies, interplay of ego and shadow, the struggle for self-conquest, surges for creative potency, a ruthless and driving nature, urges to dominate and control others, a willful flaunting of one's sexual shadow energies, and obsessive self-expression and self-celebration. So, right, we see that. I think the opposition is more so challenges revolving around not feeling like we can do that, not feeling like we can share, or feeling threatened if that's something that we do want to share with the world. Shadow qualities would be tendencies towards excessive willpower, drive, obsessive, unhelpful levels of ambition, qualities of ruthlessness, brutality, aggression, and urges to rule or dominate others. So this is a reoccurring pattern when we see any planet, especially the sun, which is so much about ego and our drive, challenge Pluto. It's very much like the individual, the heart of the matter, versus other people who are trying to kind of block that from being seen. What else do we have here? Okay, so that's the long and short of what you're going to see. Just like surges of feeling like you need to express yourself. And under the sign of Cancer, it's going to be really extreme emotions and how we're feeling the need to really dig deep and ask ourselves, are we responding because we're being threatened, or are we responding because we're being kind of taunted, or we're being manipulated? So you want to watch for whatever's going on over this week as these transits transpire, because it could literally be that things are being kind of stirred internationally or globally to get a rise out of us, so that way we react. So then when we throw Mercury into the mix with these two, there we go. So when we throw Mercury into the mix with Pluto, Mercury-Pluto with the Sun, we can see an enthusiastic and penetrating mind, a confident and persuasive way of speaking, a deep, warm voice, creative intellectual potency, a tendency to engage in mental power struggles, willful and self-centered attitudes, overly forceful and domineering communication. I feel like Mercury-Pluto has a tendency to like intensify people's mental processes, right? As their minds become channels for emerging prenatal energies, although a great asset for verbal catharsis, journeyers may need encouragement to allow any dark or profane sounds to emerge from inside them to be fully expressed. So this can be like groans and cries and screams, and can get really intense when you're kind of mixing mercurial energies with Pluto. And as the Sun challenges that, it becomes more emotional. So think of like hysterical crying and people breaking down. I've certainly seen a lot of this happening as a result of the full moon in Capricorn. And even though a full moon talks about a peak energy, what you guys don't realize is what's happening for this next week is that dismantling energy of the full moon. And so we're going to see it break apart, kind of die off, shrivel off, and then have to kind of be pushed away. So many of us are still dealing with grief and grieving and having to let go, and ending long-standing patterns that have had real deep kind of hooks in us for some time. So as these energies come up, ways to feel better supported is going deeper into that Venus in Cancer, focusing, I think, more on security within the home, comfortable spaces to be, making sure that our environment is safe and secure, making sure we're taking naps, eating well, treating ourselves well, and doing the work that we need to do to make sure that we're listening and honoring our emotions, okay? So incredibly important this week. I would like to take you guys through the 12 signs, talk about where Venus's transit through the sign of Cancer is going to be for you. Obviously, this is going to be positive for all of the signs as far as I'm concerned, because it's going to make some pretty decent aspects throughout her trek through the sign. But those who are going to be affected the most will be a Taurus or a Libra rising, along with any placements in Cancer. Make sure that you're listening for your rising, and then your sun, and then your moon sign. As always, this is whole sign predictions for Western astrology, but you're welcome to listen to 2 houses if you like to use Placidus, or if you like to listen to your progressed chart. It's choose your own adventure. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started with Aries and Aries rising. I'm going to be working with the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck today. I thought it would be very appropriate for all this Cancer energy and the Neptune stuff that's going on as well. All right, so for Aries and Aries rising, you have Venus moving through your natal 4th house. And Venus for you is about relationships here with family. I say relationships because Venus also relates to your 7th as well as your 2nd house. So there can be lots of talking to your partner about resources, what you're wanting to spend in the home, what you want your home to look like. There can be positive encounters with people in the home, parties, dinners, get-togethers, having partners kind of merge or blend with your family. So introducing people to significant others can be something that can happen here as well. And I just see lots of support, both emotionally but also financially, coming from other people who may want to help chip in, whether that's bringing a meal or helping invest in a new domestic project that you're working on. So pretty good for you, Aries. I think you're going to enjoy it. The card that I got for you is Strength. really beautiful. I keep thinking about like the planets going into your 5th house, and it can be about you realizing that you have a really strong core foundation with your family or your immediate home environment. This can be talking about placements in your 5th house, like children, hanging out with loved ones, feeling like you can be more expressive or creative. Maybe you are focusing on painting a room or cooking a meal with somebody and really realizing like, wow, I have a lot of emotional strength as a result of the support that I have from my family or my home environment. But strength can also be talking about realizing how far you've come. So I think with the squares that you're experiencing to Jupiter, there is this whole awareness that's like, yes, I can travel, I can go away, I can be away from home, but there's something that always brings me back that makes me feel safe and secure and super grounded when it comes to my home base. Really positive for you, Aries. For Taurus and Taurus rising, you are going to feel this because Venus is your chart ruler, so you're going to feel the ingress. You've got Venus moving through the sign of Cancer. She will be transiting your natal 3rd house. I think of like pretty words, heartfelt conversations, writing, the possibility for like short distance traveling. Remember, Venus can oftentimes represent you. So as it's moving through the 3rd house, you may be wanting to write something, learning a new language. You may be detailing your car. You may be spending time with a sibling or another partner. I feel like there can be lots of support coming from your local neighborhood because Venus also rules your 6th house, which deals with routine. A partner may be helping you edit or write something out or produce something. There also may be a sense of you working with somebody else to perfect something that is being taught. But regardless, sweetness is going to come from how you communicate with this transit. Venus is going to be teaching you that it's so important to speak up and say what's on your heart and say what's on your mind. The card that I got for you is the Queen of Cups. Taurus, you may be dealing with a water sign woman, so it can be a Cancer or a Scorpio or a Pisces. This can also be talking to somebody about how you feel. Now, if this is you, even though you're an earth sign, it can just be feeling like you're more emotional. You want to share your emotions more. You're really focusing on nurturing relationships and like bringing people together and talking to somebody about how it is that you feel and what's in your heart. Now, Queen of Cups can also talk about nurturing other people. So this can be somebody who comes in that's helping you and asking you how you're feeling so you can like better work through an issue or have a heart-to-heart with somebody if that needs to happen. For Gemini and Gemini rising, you've got Venus moving through Cancer, which is your 2nd house. This is wonderful for you, Gemini. This is all about financial security, spending power, aesthetic changes, and how you feel about your money. This can be a very strong period as Venus goes through this part of your chart to actually build and bring in resources from what you've been working on. The Sun and Mercury's been moving through this sign, so you have been wheeling and dealing and doing business stuff and putting things in order and having conversations about where business is going. And now that Venus shows up, she is able to actually give you a gift. So likely you're getting a payout from things that you've been working on. If you want to make changes to anything aesthetic, what you're eating, if you're wanting to make a nice investment for like a piece of art or something significant for your home, for your kitchen, that might be something else that comes as a result of this transit through your 2nd house. Just know that it's going to bring you lots of pleasurable experiences because Venus is about pleasure. So being in the 2nd house, you might be probably indulging a little bit more on the sweets or the baked goods or things like that as well. The card that I got for you is the Lovers. Ooh, very much like 2nd house. I could see that. That's just about feeling like good wine, good food, good company, being able to share with another person. This is the card for you, Gemini. So I think it's saying that there's a lot more resources coming in as a result of another person, other people who are investing in you, other people who are paying you, other people who are seeing your value, and it's really starting to come through. But this can be very romantic. So I really like that it's going through your 2nd house, which can be about pleasure and also physical touch. For Cancer and Cancer rising, well, this is kind of your show. If you're a Cancer ascendant, having Venus go through your ascendant is really wonderful for bringing more love to you. It's great for making updates to your hair, your body, your clothes, how you present yourself to the world. Venus does have connections both to Taurus as well as Libra. And so Libra's got connections to your 4th house. That's your home and your family. So perhaps family is showing you the love more. Maybe they're nurturing you. They're asking you to come and visit. You may also find that with connections to Taurus, it may also be about love coming from friends, and friends are telling you, oh, you look good, or let me cut your hair, let me put in some highlights, let me do something to kind of help boost the way that you're looking. But Venus going through your sign is going to bring more attention to yourself, your body, self-love, health, and your emotions. So you might be in your feelings a little bit. There's no doubt things have been a little intense in the relationship department, how you're dealing with other people, professionally or romantically, because of all these oppositions to Pluto. But perhaps what you're learning is that nobody is going to love you unless you really love and nurture yourself. And there is a need to really hold space for that, especially if recently, if you haven't been feeling the love from other people, or you've been going through some breakups, or taking time from others, or taking space from others. Even if it's not romantic, it can be professional, because all these oppositions to Pluto are showing you where you may be dealing with some darker issues in relationships. The card that I get is the Hierophant. Interesting that this is a 5, and it does deal with challenges. The Hierophant does deal with tradition, and it also is connected to Taurus. So this makes me feel like this is about you leaning on your friends as you're going through some major changes and transformations in regards to your relationships. You might be saying, I want to do something a little bit more conservative, a little bit more different. I want to be focusing on something that's going to not just be trendy, but something that's really going to enhance my health or my beauty long term. Look for help from friends, or perhaps a Taurus that stops in. Maybe it could be somebody who's consulting on a look overall, and they're talking to you about how to upgrade your wardrobe and kind of make it a little bit more presentable or professional. For Leo and Leo rising, you have got Venus moving through the sign of Cancer in your natal 12th house. So this is a bit of a grab bag. I would feel like for the most part, romance behind the scenes can be really lovely as Venus goes through your 12th house, because Venus there rules bed pleasures, but it can also bring opportunities to connect with divine love, spiritual love, anything in relation to family love, reflecting on your roots and where you come from, and just doing any healing behind the scenes. Healing centers, spas, things like that can be really wonderful through this transit. Now, some of you guys may be traveling and finding love in a foreign place or behind the scenes. Some of you guys might be focusing on perfecting things that you're working on related to Venus, like art or design or editing or pictures or something like that. So that can be something that you're doing as well. The 12th house is an ending house, though. So those of you guys who are Leo or Leo rising who have been going through challenges in relationships, there can be like secret affairs with the 12th house, but there can also be a natural ending and a releasing and letting go of certain relationships that aren't working for you. So at least if it does happen, to me, it seems like it's going to be in a way that allows you to have time to heal and kind of reflect. Like I said, this is a bit of a grab bag. So let's see what the cards say for you. I get the 4 of Swords. So it's about rest and recuperation, especially if you're taking a break or needing to take space from someone. This can also be honoring somebody who is no longer with you, because this can also be sometimes seen as a funeral card. Sometimes when Venus goes through the 12th house, we do see connections to our ancestors. Maybe they visit us in a dream, or this can be putting something or someone to rest and letting it go and being able to take a break. And the swords in general are about the mind. So it can be kind of going like, I can't deal with the back and forth anymore. I just need to rest. I just need to, disconnect and then kind of rebound a little bit. That's what this card can be suggesting. For Virgo and Virgo rising, you have got Venus moving through Cancer in your natal 11th house. So this deals with friends and friendships and parties. Wonderful to have Venus go through that part of your chart. I could see lots of love among friends, you introducing a loved one to friends, meeting someone at a party, being more social and hanging out with groups and networking. But keep in mind, the 11th house also deals with gains and your goals. So there may be some sense of you realizing that a part of your goal for the future is expanding your social group, expanding your home life. You're experiencing squares from Jupiter in your 8th house. So there's lots of change and transformation happening in the life of you or your friends. Some of your friends might be getting married, buying houses, having babies, and you're like, whoa, what am I doing with my life? Like, what's happening here? Or you might be realizing as a result of a new relationship that's come into your life that your goals are changing and you're aligning with what somebody else wants domestically. Regardless, I feel like it's positive for you, Virgo, because water always works very well with earth. And I could see where your friends are encouraging you to expand more and stay open to what new potential romantic connections there could be out there. So if you have a friend that wants to set you up with somebody, if you're single, I would say do it. And if you are in a relationship, there can be lots of expansion in romantic relationships through friends. So introducing, but also I could think that it's like really focusing on the relationships that you have with your friends. So platonic love as well. The card that I got for you is the Six of Cups. So is there a reunion going on, Virgo? Are you seeing friends you haven't seen for some time? Is there some kind of soulmate connection going on here? Are you reminiscing on the good times? I could see some of you guys getting together with friends that you haven't seen for a while and like talking about like, oh, the good old days, like what you guys used to do 10 years ago. And you might be older and you might have very different lives now and be settled or have children, but there is still this like real fondness for the past and being able to talk about that with some of your friends. So if there is any reunions or get-togethers, it looks like it's going to be a good one. For Libra and Libra rising, you're going to feel this, Libra, because Venus rules your chart. You've got Venus moving through your natal 10th house, which deals with your career. So Venus is moving through the tip-top part of your chart, Libra. You are very visible. People have eyes on you. This is actually really positive because it's giving you the opportunity to really bring in big career success. Favored positions, good exposure, you're going to be more popular than usual. All eyes are going to be on you and certainly your reputation. Now, this is really significant because you're going to see squares to Jupiter in your 7th house. So perhaps like you and a relationship are going to the next level. You and a partnership go public. You and a business partner go public. It can also give you the opportunity with the sextiles to Uranus just to see major sudden shifts in regards to your income as a result of just your growth and popularity at work. So I foresee it being good. I think the challenges that you're going to be coming up against, Libra, is going to be all of the oppositions to your 4th house Pluto transit, where it can be more difficult as you're kind of rising in your career or to fame. There's challenges with people in your home zone or your domestic zone. You've got, parents that might not quite give you the recognition you're looking for. There can be difficulties maintaining your responsibilities at home and challenges on the home front. But, because Venus is symbolic of you, I would say for the most part, it's really good. Enjoy your time in the sun right now because it's only going to be helping you grow further in your career into the future. The card that I get is the Well. Interesting. So it's almost like what comes up also goes down. This is the card that is associated with the Tower. And I think that with the oppositions that are going to be forming to Pluto is probably perhaps the need to address a parent, to address a domestic matter, an issue with someone you're living with. It could be issues also with the past, where if the past is what's holding you back and keeping you from being able to feel safe and secure, it needs to be addressed. You may feel at certain points throughout this transit how frustrated you are because everything's going on really well out in the world and you're going to have some kind of chaotic events that are happening within the family that just seems like it's bad timing and it's really going to challenge your ability to kind of stay on top of things. So know that when the Tower is coming up, it's really coming up because it's encouraging you to blast out of an old, outdated situation. So if you need to move, if you need to make a change in a relationship, if you need to cut a family member off so you can stay all focused in your career, so be it. All right, so we've got Scorpio and Scorpio rising. I hope you're well, Scorpio. We've got Cancer, Venus moving through Cancer in your natal 9th house. This is a fellow water sign, so you will benefit, as will Pisces. And as Venus moves through your 9th house, this is very interesting. Venus rules your relationships, your 7th house Taurus. It also rules Libra, your 12th house. Scorpio, love for education is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Perhaps maybe you have met some new type of counselor, partner, somebody who's gotten you to kind of open up your mind and see things differently. Because it is activated in your 9th house, it can be about education. It can be about philosophy. It could be about intuition. So maybe you're learning more about metaphysics. Perhaps maybe you're planning a pleasure trip. So if you are a single Scorpio, you could meet love on the go. You could be at an airport. You could be abroad. You could meet somebody who lives in another place who wants to connect with you. And the 9th house is about our connection to God, the bigger picture. And I feel like for many of you, it can also be about the bigger picture when it comes to relationships and security and what it means to be in relationships. And it's going to give you the opportunity to start planning the future. Cancer in the 9th is like where you're going to live, you know, what you want your home to look like, what you're believing in. And so there's a lot that's shifting for you. I would also say that there can be a sense where you're learning secret talents of your partner because it is activating your 12th house. And your partner might be teaching you things or showing you things that's kind of really kind of broaden and open up your belief about the universe in general. It's going to be forming also sextiles to Uranus in your 7th house. So you're going to see a different side of your partner, and trines also to Neptune. That is going to be in your 5th. So Scorpio risings, lots of room for creativity, lots of room for romance, booking like amazing vacations, or you might be taking one, and just feeling really inspired. Watch out also because that can be pregnancy energy with the trines to the 5th. I get the 2 of Cups. So this is about relationships. It's about partnership. Realizing who is and is not in your corner. If you're single, it's like basically saying a new relationship is coming. If you are partnered, it's about going deeper into that bond. Recommitting, so it might be recommitting to each other and reminding each other what it is that you're doing within the relationship, what the purpose is, and how you guys can be growing together spiritually. Lovely, lovely Scorpio. For Sag and Sag rising, we've got Venus going through Cancer through your 8th house. That's kind of sexy. When Venus goes through the 8th house, it's about a transformative process, and we're moving more in the direction of the emotional intimacy, not necessarily the sexual intimacy, okay? So for you guys, this month, it's going to be about transformation of emotions and resources. Focus on sexual healing, bonding, and healing issues from the past. Now, that's because it's going through the 8th. It's also going to be making all kinds of oppositions to your 2nd house. You are realizing that emotions play a huge role in your security, whether that's, you know, whether or not you feel like you have support, whether or not you're worried about money and joint resources, taxes. It's going to form quite a few aspects this month. Excuse me, the Sun and Mercury are forming aspects to Pluto, as will Venus. So it's going to be about you challenging what your value system is, and you might realize that your home is what's providing the most security, your family, your spouse, your partner, and there can be lots going on in regards to other people talking to you about your needs. And if you speak up and you communicate what you need in order to feel safe or secure in a home sense, in a relationship sense, what have you, you'll be able to totally transform and really focus on bringing in more resources, because Venus in the 8th can actually bring you a bonus, a payout, some kind of like tax refund, something like that. All right, so let's see what card comes up for you. I get the King of Swords. So you could be dealing with an air sign, you could be dealing with a Libra, an Aquarius, or possibly even a Gemini. Now, if not, this can be about you really channeling and feeling the need to communicate and realizing that vulnerability is what's going to be one of your strengths this month, communicating and sharing your ideas, being able to get everything out, you know, on paper or in a contract or on words. You may be negotiating anything in regards to a loan, a home loan, especially in the sign of Cancer, or just coming up with a strategy or a plan to feel more safe and secure when it comes to your resources. You might talk to somebody about how to make the most of your money. That could be something else that happens as Venus goes through your 8th house. Accountants and people who can help you budget and kind of pay things off can appear as well. And now we've got Capricorn and Cap rising. What's up, Capricorn? You got Venus going through your 7th house of Cancer. That's wonderful. This is a much needed relief from some of the pressure that's been going on in your life in terms of how you're relating to other people. Sun has been in your 7th, Mercury's been in your 7th, Venus shows up now, so it's going to be kind of healing anything that's been uncomfortable in the recent last couple weeks. This is going to give you the opportunity to find relationship support, okay? Allies, new business partnerships, or clients. You might feel like you're being just bombarded with people who are just very needy, right? Cancer can be needy in your 7th. But it can also be your relationship with family and like really finally getting to the point where now that you've kind of gone through the drama with family, now you can smooth things over so you can better a relationship with a family member. Also, there can be really prominent women who come into your life this month that really help you kind of move up in ranks when it comes to your career, because Venus rules Libra, your 10th house. Now, one thing that I would say is that there can be lots of talk about younger people, children, youth, things like that, because Venus also rules your 5th house, Taurus. So if you're in a relationship, you might be having to talk to your partner more about the domestic zone, how you're raising kids, what the plan is. And if you don't have children, then it can be you talking with a partner about whether or not you're open to a deeper connection. Regardless, Capricorn, don't fight it. You have all these oppositions to Pluto in your 1st house right now. It's important to stay open. Part of the transformation process is to break down before you open up again. So as you've been going through all of these changes, people are pushing you to grow and not be so suspicious or closed off when it comes to relationships and being vulnerable. So look for those allies. It's going to be really good for you this month. And of course, you would pull the Knight of Cups. So Knight of Cups can be a water sign. It can be a Pisces, Cancer, or a Scorpio. Super charming, very romantic. Somebody who comes in, they wear their heart on their sleeve, and they're like, I am in love with you. They might chase you around, asking you to go out, have a meeting with them, have dinner with them. But they're very adamant. This is like an offer, right? And as Venus goes into your 7th house, you usually start seeing this, hey, let's have a meeting. Let's talk about working together. Hey, let me get your phone number. Let's go out to dinner. Look for these invitations because people are wanting to help you in some capacity, and they're very adamant. They can be very charming. So watch out for this. This can be people who are very, very charming. I think it's good for you, Capricorn. Now we've got Aquarius and Aquarius rising. We have Venus moving through Cancer through your natal 6th house. Now the 6th house is your daily routine. That being Cancer makes me feel like, what are you doing? You gonna organize your house? Are you gonna change up your diet? Is there a need for you to focus more on your emotional health? All of these things can be true, but also look forward to loving your routine, loving your pets, decorating your home or your office. And if you're single, you might just find love at the gym or somewhere in relation to the office space. Can be a wonderful time if you're needing to bring people in to help you organize your home, clean your home, walk your dogs, do all that stuff. Likely the pets might be better behaved this month if you have any. And maybe you're just really loving how clean and organized your space is, whether that's your home space or your office. But you're going to see that things are going to kind of come together and you're going to start getting back on track in terms of a routine. I've heard from a lot of Aquarius and Aquarius risings between moving and conflict with family and having health issues or whatever. Finally, things are going to smooth out a little bit as a result of this transit. So if you have just moved and you're feeling unsettled, likely somebody might help you unpack and organize and decorate your space is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. The card that I get is the 3 of Wands. Wonderful. So this is about taking action, moving forward together, being excited about the process of organizing, relocating, making changes, thinking about where you're going. And this is also where you're going in terms of taking action physically to improve your mental or your emotional health. So keep in mind, this is an action-oriented card. So if you've been feeling a little sluggish or a little emotional, kind of getting out there, getting active, working up a sweat can be helpful as well. And last but not least, Pisces and Pisces rising. Pisces, you have Venus moving into the sign of Cancer, which is a sister sign. So you and Scorpio will both benefit from this. Now, this is going to be happening in your natal 5th house. 5th house deals with romance, creativity, self-employment, taking chances, children, pregnancy, younger people, creative projects, and dating. These things all sound good, right? Venus loves being in the 5th house. Having Venus go through this house for you, I think is wonderful, especially just thinking about the sextiles that's going to be made to Uranus and Mars in the 3rd. Maybe you're going on road trips. Maybe you're meeting people on an app. Maybe part of your creative process right now is writing or anything in relation to poetry or learning or publishing something. I also see the possibility of you really focusing on getting to work on a creative project. So if you are an artist, if you are self-employed, deployed. This is going to help the process of this getting moving and shaking, really being able to obtain your goals. Recently, maybe you've been feeling like a little bit like you're behind on your goals with the oppositions to Pluto, but Venus is going to come in and say, no, don't worry, we're going to get things moving. If you're single, you can meet people. You can fall in love. You can say, I love you. It is also possible that with this transit that there's lots of talk about children or pregnancy. So be mindful of that because the 5th house has connections to that. Regardless, I feel like you're going to be feeling just really romantic as a result of this transit. And you're really going to be enjoying what you're working on or who you're spending time with. And I have a feeling that creating or carving out like a space within your home for creative work is really important because Cancer relates to the home. The 5th house might relate to you working from home, needing a space where you're doing your art stuff, you're painting, you're drawing, you're putting up your photos, or just really enjoying the process of creating or decorating with a loved one within your home is likely to happen. And the card that I get is the King of Wands. Super feisty. This is usually a fire sign, so it can be an Aries or a Leo or a Sag. If not, it can be just talking about you just feeling like you're unleashing your inner artist, you're taking action when it comes to expressing yourself, whether that's dancing, being on stage, doing anything in relation to like comedy. King of Wands can be kind of funny. So there might be a sense of just this like comedic stuff that's coming out in you right now. And maybe you're feeling the need to kind of share that with other people. If it is another person who shows up, they can be very charming, very feisty, and definitely somebody who is looking to like create together or just be like very physically intimate. So good luck with that, Pisces. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. I'm sure that it's going to be a really positive transit with Venus through Cancer for all of the 12 signs, even in the midst of some of this full moon fallout. Let me know, where is this happening in your chart? Are you still experiencing the full moon these couple of days into this next week? I would love to hear how you are managing through some of these transits. Just a couple heads up for the channel this week. I'm going to be doing live astrology this Saturday, and that is going to be the 23rd at 7:00 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Join me if you'd like to get your chart read. We're doing readings by donation. I'm going to put the link out, and we're going to set it up so people can sign up early because we're going to have so many spots. So look for that post on my channel in a couple of days. Also, if you would like to support the channel, if you like my astro weather, if you like my other videos throughout the week, they are made possible because of people like you who like, comment, share, and subscribe, but also my membership. So I have several different levels for my memberships. If you would like to support me and what I'm doing and have me put more content out there for you guys, please consider joining my memberships or consider booking a reading. So you can click my link below. You can go to my website at beyondtheveiltarot.com and see my availability. I am booking now for August and September. So if you'd like to talk to me, get on my list. And last but not least, take a look at the Midheaven podcast. We have a new episode that comes out every Monday. So you can head on over to that channel, see me and the Peace Dealer talk about politics and current events and astrology and have a couple cocktails on the internet. It's always a good time. All right, guys, well, that's all for me for today. I will see all of you guys very soon. I'll be back on Tuesday, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.